Bond. James Bond.
Bond. James Bond. The quintessential gent. The ruthless assassin with a moral compass. The ultimate definition of masculinity. Irresistible to women. Adaptable in every situation. Deadly to his enemies. And a man of taste. Except when it comes to hard liquor. Seriously, vodka martini? Get a fucking beer or a scotch, man. Created by the late Ian Fleming, Bond debuted in 1953, starting off as comic strips for Playboy, before becoming a series of novels in 1957. But it was his big screen debut in 1962 with Dr. No that made him more of a household name, and it turned Ian Fleming's creation into the successful franchise we know today. The role was played by many different actors: Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and eventually Daniel Craig. And no, 1950s Casino Royale doesn't count. You know, the Barry Nelson version where James Bond is an American named Jimmy. Fucking Jimmy. And despite Daniel Craig starting off great with Casino Royale, it wasn't until Spectre came out that I started to side with the haters. And that scepticism was only exacerbated with the disastrous No Time to Die. Originally scheduled in 2019 and released eventually in 2021, No Time to Die starts off in the past where a young Madeleine Swan's mum is murdered by Mr. Freddie Mercury robot guy named Safin, and when he tries to hunt her down, he decides to save her for some reason. Cut to the present, we pick up where the last one left off. Bond's lovey-dovey time with Swan is interrupted when assassins try to kill him, leading him to suspect Swan of betraying him, which leads Bond to kick that girl to the bloody curb.
It's not you, it's me. No, actually, it's not me. It is you. I'm sorry.
5 years later, he bumps into Felix, who needs him to track down a bumbling, annoying scientist. And there's an obnoxious, strong, diverse female not James Bond after the same guy as well, who goes by the name of Noomi, played by Lasagna Lynch. Turns out the scientist is working for Safin. Now Bond must join forces with his former MI5, MI6 buddies and reunite with Swan to stop evil Mr. Freddie Mercury robot Safin, who has gotten his revenge and now wants to rule the world and kill Bond for some reason. Will Bond succeed in stopping him? Will Bond survive the ending to avoid the woke morons reinventing him for the modern audiences?
We'll find out today!
No Time to Die truly was the worst case of marketing incompetence that did nothing but destroy any goodwill towards the fan base. They gaslighted their own audience with hype that Lashana Lynch would be replacing our hero in an effort to make them look more diverse, as well as make 007 himself look like a moron in the trailers.
The world's moved on, Commander Bond.
You were 00?
2 years. So stay in your lane. You get in my way, I will put a bullet in your knee. The one that works.
I thought you two would get along.
Name?
Bond. James Bond.
The audacity. How fucking dare you?
Oh, and speaking of morons,
You stole it. And you stole it.
Then I stole it. It's called capitalism.
because having someone writing for a beloved character she hates definitely makes fans confident in the studio's abilities, especially when that writer tries to put a period joke in.
What is this? The International Year of Wally Brain or something?
And once the backlash started, delays halted to make way for obvious reshoots, backtracking on their virtuous signalling, leading to a more convoluted mess of a script, as well as over-budgeting to the point where making a successful profit would be about as possible as shitting out a successful profit. But stupidity aside, how did the film turn out? Well, the action is pretty fucking cool. And the fact that it was done practically does make the danger feel more real. Sexy Ana de Armas is likeable and charming as Paloma, and man, I wish she was the agent teaming up with James Bond for the remainder of the movie instead of Lynch. When she's on screen with Craig, it's fun, exciting, there's real chemistry between the two, and even poor-faced Daniel Craig looks like he's enjoying himself. Even Lacey Seydoux improves as Madeleine Swan, by actually acting instead of walking around looking bored like she did in Spectre. And not to sound like a ponce, but the cinematography is fucking breathtaking.
You sound like a gay.
And thank God Craig's Bond didn't get fully reduced to a cook the way the trailers made him out to be.
So you lost him.
You can go in.
Thank you.
Alone, I'm afraid.
Oh, does that bother you?
In fact, Craig does put in more of an effort here than he did in Spectre. So I'll give credit where credit's due. Good on you, man. Sadly, that's all there is to praise. Everything else... The opening is way too long, starting with a flashback before actually starting the movie we came to see. The whole point of the opening is to hype us, get ready for the excitement the movies have in store for us. The flashback could have been used for something later, get us intrigued first to question what is happening, but instead it just kills the pacing and flow of the beginning. Rami Malek is flat as Safin. He's just another monologuing, boring villain. He changes his motivation on a dime with no context to help us understand why we should care. Even when he kidnaps Bond's daughter, he suddenly lets her go free after she bites him.
If you don't want my protection, then off you go. What the hell was that?
And Bond has a daughter in this. I'll get to that soon. Lashana Lynch is smug and punchable as strong, diverse, not new James Bond knew me. When we first meet her, she's petty and disrespectful and petulant. You know you're practically being handed the title last owned by one of the greatest agents in the business. I thought you should be at least honoured to be meeting your predecessor, not acting like you're a superior agent.
But oh dear, what's this? One of the women is about to embarrass us all.
So stay in your lane. You get in my way, I will put a bullet in your knee. The one that works.
The lady has foolishly attempted to join the conversation with a wild and dangerous opinion of her own. What half-baked drivel. Women, know your limits.
But thankfully she does get put in her place. But even when she does start to show some respect, it never feels genuine. It just feels like a 180. The rest of the familiar characters feel like hollow shells of themselves. Ray Fiennes is reduced to a miserable git. There was even a point where they were actually going to make him the villain. Him, the fucking villain. Naomi Harris is wasted to a point where she could have been swapped out easily, which really annoys me as she's a really good moneypenny. Actually, she's a strong, diverse female character, actually done well, and she actually has chemistry with Daniel Craig. And yet it's this clown that's getting bigged up in the promotional material.
Em, can I call you back? Just need to drop in on some old friends.
Q is reduced to an idiot for reasons I will get into soon. And he's gay, by the way. Except in the Chinese version, probably. Even Christoph Waltz returns as Blofeld, only to just get killed. Same can be said of Jeffrey White as Felix Leiter. He's brought back just to get killed. There's a few weird callbacks to Her Majesty's Secret Service which feels forced, as if it's trying to convince us this is just as great. In fact, all it did was make me wish I was watching that movie instead. The chemistry between Craig and Sado is still non-existent, and I'm not going to lie, despite Craig really acting his arse off, him opening up to Swan did feel a little forced and out of character.
I don't know if you wanted me to come here, and why you tried to kill Blofeld, or who gave you the poison to do it, or how long you've been working for them, but I do know that for what felt like 5 minutes of my life, I wanted everything with you. And it's not because I didn't trust. It's just that feeling.
And say what you like about Lazenby, but when his bond opened up to Tracy, it felt much more consistent to the character.
I love you. I know I'll never find another girl like you. Will you marry me?
You mean it?
I mean it.
It was honest, raw, straight to the point. It didn't feel like a character saying something romantic, it felt genuine. And James Bond dies in this, by the way. Oh yeah, he fucking dies.
I don't fucking believe it.
In this scene, Bond finds out he's been infected with nanobots, which could kill his daughter and anyone around him if he touches them. And Q says there's nothing they can do. Nothing they can do with 30-year technology in an environment that works in advancing technology. Are you not even fucking trying? And there's a reason why Q is an idiot. Did you not go through any options on what can be done? But fuck it, we need a reason for a wounded Bond to sacrifice himself so we can reinvent him for a modern audience somehow. And back to the daughter thing. I don't think movie Bond should have a daughter. I know he had a daughter in the original novel of You Only Live Twice, but sometimes what happens in the books doesn't always translate well to the screen. In the book, Bond is more open, he's a philosopher, he's a total snob, but he is more romantic. In the movies, Bond is a bit more contained, he hides his pain, he hides his fear, his trauma. But even when he's being a cold-blooded killer, you can still see he has a fucking heart of gold. And I will give credit for taking inspiration from You Only Live Twice. I'll even give credit that they're trying to be a bit more faithful to the books, but in You Only Live Twice, when Bond died, it felt more earned. In the original novels, Blofeld had killed Tracy, reducing Bond to a shell of his former self, and when he dies, taking down Blofeld at sea, it felt earned, as if they both had a lot of context that was building up to that moment. And I'll give credit to taking inspiration from the original novel of You Only Live Twice. You know, the Garden of Death climax, the ending with James Bond dying, him having a daughter. He's taking on someone he's only just met. And I will give credit for the Daniel Craig series for taking chances and trying to do something different. But just because you take chances and do something different doesn't mean there's always a payoff. But overall, it's bloated. It feels more like a vehicle in dismantling everything that made this franchise so beloved, just so it can reinvent the next installment to suit a more diverse audience. And despite Bond being blasted into oblivion, this is how the franchise ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. And whether you beautiful bastards are Northern English or not, thanks for watching, and do remember to like, subscribe and comment, and if you wish to further support the channel, then the links are in the description below. But right now, that's me done, and I'm off to the pub for a vodka martini. Shaken, not fucking stirred, man.